This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Lal Malavarachi and read by Tilani Pires. Minister Sarath Weerasekara says 32 suspects who are directly linked to the Easter Sunday attack have been identified and relevant evidence has already been submitted to file cases against them. 5,800 imported consumer items will be regulated. The government is to purchase 6 million doses of Sputnik 5 vaccine for COVID-19. Private tuition classes in the Western Province will be allowed to recommence academic activities from Monday. Special bus transport service will be made available during the festive season. And on news overseas, Australia and New Zealand are to start quarantine-free travel. The Minister of Public Security, Sarath Weerasekara, says Naufal Maulavi, who is currently in remand custody, has been identified as the ringleader of the Easter Sunday terror attacks. The minister's remarks came during a special media briefing held this afternoon. He said Naufal Maulavi is allegedly the theoretician of the now-banned organisation National Tawheed Jamaats. According to Minister Weerasekara, Naufal Maulavi was involved in bringing down the ideology of the Islamic State to Sri Lanka in 2014. The Public Security Minister further said Naufal Maulavi is also the person who brainwashed Zaharan Hashim into following IS ideology. In addition, Hajib Akbar, who was taken into custody on March 12th, has also been identified as a ringleader of the coordinated bomb attack. He was arrested in Dematagoda for promoting Wahhabism and jihadist ideology in the country. It was revealed that Hajul Akbar had served as the chairman of Jamaat-e-Islami organization for many years. The 60-year-old is also a close relative of one of the suspects who was taken into custody over the Buddhist statue vandalism incident in Mavanalla. He further said a total of 32 suspects who are directly linked to the carnage have been identified and relevant evidence has already been submitted in order to file cases against them. However, investigations into the matter are moving forward. The State Minister Lasantha Alagiyawanna says that any variety of contaminated or substandard cooking oil will not be permitted to be sold in the local market hereafter. The government is to regulate 5,800 imported consumer items. The public should inform the relevant authorities regarding low-quality food items if available in the market. The State Minister made these comments in Parliament today. Parliamentarian Gayantha Karunatilaka said that the government has failed to provide quality food items to the people in the country. The State Minister Shehan Semasinga said that the opposition should not discourage local industrialists by condemning local products manufactured by them. A total of 95 more persons were tested positive for COVID-19 in Sri Lanka today as the confirmed cases count reached 93,690. Meanwhile, the recoveries count recorded in the country is currently at 90,708. According to statistics, 2,301 active cases are still under medical care. 586 fatalities due to COVID-19 have been reported in the country so far. Meanwhile, the cabinet approval has been granted to purchase another 6 million doses of the Russian Sputnik 5 vaccine. The Cabinet of Ministers at its weekly meeting yesterday has approved the proposal made by the Minister of Health to purchase another 6 million doses of Sputnik 5 vaccine at the same price. The Sputnik 5 vaccine has been approved for emergency use in Sri Lanka by the National Medicine Regulatory Authority. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The Speed Investment Plan from Sri Lanka Insurance. Give a high five to life.
The Minister of Health, Pavitra Vanyarachi, says that private tuition classes in the Western Province will be allowed to recommence academic activities from the 12th of this month. On January 21st, the Director General of Health Services has issued the relevant health guidelines for the commencement of tuition classes. Accordingly, tuition classes can be reopened 2 weeks after the schools are opened, the Minister said. Further, the number of students in a class should be limited to a maximum of 100 at a time. In cases where the seating capacity is less than 100, the number of students should exceed 50% of the total seating capacity. Chandimal Jasinghe, the National Director of Mrs. World Sri Lanka, says that steps have been taken to award the crown to Pushpika De Silva, who was officially crowned as the 2021 Mrs. Sri Lanka. He further stated that the crown, which was stripped off Mrs. Pushpika De Silva, was handed over to the organising committee. Mrs. Pushpika De Silva was announced the winner of the Mrs. Sri Lanka 2021 pageant held at the Nelumpokuna Theatre on Sunday night. However, when Pushpika De Silva was about to take the centre stage, the reigning Mrs. World, Caroline Jury, stripped the crown off the winner, claiming that she is a divorcee and not qualified to be crowned according to the pageant rules. Jury then went on to crown the first runner-up. Mr. Chandimal Jasinghe said such an incident should not happen and that no one can take back the crown, which was unanimously given by the organising committee and the judges. Meanwhile, reigning Mrs. World from Sri Lanka, Caroline Jury, had been summoned to the Cinnamon Gardens police station this morning to record a statement regarding the controversy at the Mrs. Sri Lanka 2021 pageant. That ends local news for now.
Introducing Speed Investment with Sri Lanka Insurance, the only insurance policy that increases your sum assured by 5% every year for the same premium amount. You also get a bonus payment at maturity. What better plan to have when you can invest now and relax later? The Speed Investment Plan from Sri Lanka Insurance. Give a high five to life. Sri Lanka Insurance. Like a father, like a mother.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The Western Provincial Road Passenger Transport Authority Chairman Prasanna Sanjeeva says that special public transport services would be launched in collaboration with the Railway Department, the Sri Lanka Transport Board SLTB and the Transport Commission for people travelling to rural areas for the upcoming Sinhala and Tamil New Year. He added that steps would be taken to deploy buses based on the requirement. The SLTB stated that it has deployed an additional 200 buses for people to travel to villages for the holidays. The Railway Department stated that 21 special trains have been deployed for both short distance and long distance journeys. They will be in operation from April the 9th. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
And on Watch Light tonight, police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana says that operations have been enhanced to nab drunken drivers. He said special operations will be launched from Saturday. Strict laws will be enforced on expressways. The DIG said that the drunken drivers arrested will be remanded until the end of the festive season. This is for the attention of drivers who hope to take part in New Year parties during this season. That came to you in Watch Light.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
the best discount in this Urdu season. People's Leasing Polybasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
World News headlines first. Australia and New Zealand to start quarantine-free travel. India ramps up vaccines as daily cases hit 100,000. Jordan has banned reporting about an alleged plot to destabilize the country. Australia and New Zealand residents will be able to travel between the two nations without having to quarantine from 19th April. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern announced the move today. Since October, New Zealand travellers have been allowed to enter most Australian states without quarantine, though this had not been reciprocated. Both nations have been since contained COVID outbreaks and kept infection rates near zero. India has stepped up its coronavirus vaccination drive amid a deadly second wave of infections. The country on Sunday breached the 100,000 daily caseload mark for the first time since the pandemic began. Everyone above the age of 45 is now eligible for the jab. Some states are also targeting specific groups like bank workers and lawyers. Nearly 80 million doses have been given so far, mostly to frontline workers and people above the age of 60. Jordan has banned reporting about an alleged plot to destabilize the country, said to involve controversial ex-Crown Prince Hamza bin Hussein. The Prosecutor General said the ban extended to social media networks. Over the weekend, the government accused Prince Hamza, 41, of conspiring against the kingdom. Details have now emerged of an apparent angry exchange between the prince and the military chief of staff about restrictions on the prince's freedom. Back to the world news headlines. Australia and New Zealand to start quarantine-free travel. India ramps up vaccines as daily cases hit 100,000. Jordan has banned reporting about an alleged plot to destabilize the country. That ends world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
The best discount in this Urdu season, People's Leasing Polybasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News is brought to you by CIB New Year offer. Valuable gift vouchers for every bill payment during 1st to 10th April. 20% discount for bank card holders. Our place, our product. CIB.
And on development news tonight, the Peta floating market, which has been renovated under the directives of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, will be vested with the public tomorrow. The Urban Development Authority has carried out renovations, spending over 30 million rupees. The market, consisting of 103 stalls, was opened in 2014 when President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was the Defence Secretary. That's development news.
Development News was brought to you by CIB New Year offer. Valuable gift vouchers for every bill payment during 1st to 10th April. 20% discount for bank card holders. Our place, our product. CIB.
Coming up, sports news. The Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has organised a family run to be held every Saturday morning, covering a distance of 5 kilometres, commencing on April 10th at 6 a.m. This event is organised with the help of Lanka Sports Rizon, and the race will be worked off around the race course and on the road in close proximity to the Sports Ministry. North Korea has announced it will not take part in the Tokyo Olympics this year, saying the decision is to protect its athletes from COVID-19. The decision puts an end to South Korea's hopes of using the Games to engage with the North amid stalled cross-border talks. In 2018, both sides entered a joint team at the Winter Olympics, which led to a series of historic summits. That ends sports news.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
And on business news, Sri Lanka's rupee closed weaker at 201 to 202 rupees to the 1 week US dollar on Tuesday, while gilt yields were flat on dull trade, dealers said. The rupee last closed in the 1 week forward market at 200 rupees and 50 cents to 200 rupees and 90 cents to the US dollar on Monday. In the secondary market, bond yields are flat in dull trade, dealers said. That ends the business news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Moving on with economic news, Cabinet spokesman Minister Kelly Rambukwala said Sri Lanka will bring a new tourism act to merge 3 agencies and repeal the existing law to be able to improve coordination and better manage resources. Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, Sri Lanka Convention Bureau and the Sri Lanka Institute of Tourism and Hotel Management operated as state agencies. The new law would merge these institutions to bolster the national economy. That ends economic news.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
Finally, the weather report. The Met Department says showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the western, Sabaragamu and central provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts in the evening or night. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central, Sabaragamu and western provinces during the morning. The sun is going to be directly over Sri Lanka during the 5th to the 14th of this month. The nearest areas of Sri Lanka over which the sun is overhead tomorrow noon are Colombo, Malvana, Kosgama, Sitavaka, Maldenia, Rosella, Talavakale, Sitalia, Attampitiya, Passara, Varalanda and Pallavi Kalapur. That was the weather report.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. Minister Sarath Weerasekara says 32 suspects who are directly linked to the Easter Sunday attack have been identified and relevant evidence has already been submitted to file cases against them. 5,800 imported consumer items will be regulated. The government is to purchase 6 million doses of Sputnik 5 vaccine for COVID-19. Private tuition classes in the Western Province will be allowed to recommence academic activities from Monday. Special public transport service will be made available during the festive season. And on news overseas, Australia and New Zealand are to start quarantine-free travel. That ends this news broadcast. And now it's back to my friend and colleague, Chandima Virakon, this Tuesday night.